Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Search, God of War body refinement. Retrieving. Soon, a practice method appeared in front of Lu Sheng. Seeing the name of this practice method, Lu Sheng's eyes lit up slightly. The name of this law is Martial Ancestor Body Refinement Technique. The Martial Ancestor Body Refinement Technique, created by martial ancestor Lu Sheng, it is one of the most suitable basic body refining techniques for entry into martial arts. Whoa, what a big name. Of course Lu Sheng also smiled. His so-called martial ancestor has been with Azure Star for more than 300 years in martial arts, and there is still a Mao inheritance. Looking back now, if I had a fever in my head at the beginning, I would have promoted this body refining technique as soon as possible. It is estimated that the cover-up of the dream space's mistakes has long been seen. Lu Sheng didn't care about these details, and focused on the body refining technique itself. After reading the full set of body refining techniques, Lu Sheng's face showed a slight moving color. The original 228 movements, through the perfect deduction of the mysterious power of the dream space, increased to 356. He tried to simply simulate this newborn body refining technique in his mind. Surprisingly, he found that it was helpful to him now. Some of the potential parts that can be tapped by this body refining technique are not even covered by the immortal body of a star. In other words, this body refining technique is at some level stronger than level 11 stellar immortal art. Lu Sheng was shocked. Then came the surprise. What does that mean? This means that the stellar immortality, natural breathing method and crystal viewing ideas that he is practicing now, these 311 level exercises, still have room for improvement and improvement. If you use the dream space for deduction, you might be able to create a 12 level, or even a 13 level, 14 level method in one fell swoop. Great news! The dream space is much more powerful than I thought. With this advantage, I will be more sure of the crisis of extinction in 8 years. Lu Sheng was a little excited and was already thinking about how to deduce these 3 exercises. Although it is not yet possible to promote these 311 level exercises, there are many ways to deal with them. For example, to pass it on to a small number of people first? Adults are too ambitious, can they be passed on to children first? Contrary to the rules is dead, people are alive, as long as you think about it, there must be a perfect solution. The dream space is a super data processor, and the real world is the input port. Grasp this, it will be an unparalleled great help in my martial arts journey. Lu Sheng's eyes were shining, and he practiced the so-called martial ancestor body refinement technique directly in the dream space. After dozens of times of repairing the chain, Lu Sheng clearly felt that his stellar indestructible body had improved. The most intuitive manifestation was that the stellar vein diagram in the martial body had quietly grown a little bit towards a more perfect, higher level, constantly approaching. After practicing almost, Lu Sheng stood up from the ground. Who? Sounded. His figure jumped out suddenly, turned into a bright golden meteor, and slammed into a huge deep pit in the distance. In the deep pit, there was a violent explosion and the sound of cold weapons clashing. Gold and blue light flickered and floated on the pit. Shi Lingyi, the 10th level 5 realm spear master. Just like Zhao Lingshuan back then, he was his best sparring partner. 7 days later, at the entrance of the Lu family villa, Lu Sheng and Dong Qingxue were standing at the door carrying large and small bags, while Lu Dahai, Zheng Yufan and his wife, and Lu Qinghe were seeing them off. I've only been here for a few days, and I'm leaving again. Zheng Yufan babbled, her face was full of reluctance, she patted Lu Sheng's clothes with both hands, smoothing out the wrinkles on his clothes. Lu Sheng comforted Zheng Yufan softly, Mom, this time I'm going to Qingxue's house to meet her parents. By the way, let's set our business down. Yes, Qingxue is a good girl. Lu Dahai looked at Lu Sheng with an indescribable gratification in his eyes, which was a kind of joy from his heart when he saw that his son was about to grow up and become a family. When you meet people's parents, remember to be polite. Although our family is a small family, the etiquette cannot be lost. No. Lu Sheng nodded. Glancing at Lu Qinghe's pouting appearance, he calmly said, I have arranged for you an expert instructor from the military department, and someone will come to pick you up every day in the future. Also, I will teach you body refinement techniques and breathing techniques, so remember to practice them diligently. I will check your training performance report every day. If I find that the progress is not satisfactory, good. You know. Lu Qinghe pouted even higher and snorted. Understood. After exhorting each other a few words, the family sent Lu Sheng and Dong Qingxue out, and naturally a special car from the military would pick them up to the airport. From Baihe City to Dongjia, it takes less than half a day in total. Sitting on the military plane, Lu Xing leaned on the seat and looked down at the clouds below through the cabin window. A cold little hand reached out and gently stroked Lu Sheng's eyebrows. Lu Sheng turned his head and faced Dong Qingxue's inquiring eyes. Are you nervous? Dong Qingxue looked at him curiously. Lu Sheng clenched Dong Qingxue's hand tightly and said with a smile, you should ask your father and father this question. I think it's him who is more nervous now. Meanwhile, the owner. A middle-aged man with a Mediterranean hairstyle and a round face and body sneezed violently. Achio. A beautiful woman next to her quickly came up to her and asked with concern, what's wrong? Got a cold? The round-faced middle-aged man smiled wryly and shook his head. I am a 7th-level grandmaster, how can I still catch a cold? It is estimated that the supreme figure is coming, and the body is tense. The beautiful woman nodded and said with a complicated expression, you made me a little nervous when you said that. You said that such a great person, why did you take a fancy to the daughter of our employer? I've been dizzy for the past 2 days, I've been swaying from time to time while walking, and I always feel like I'm living in a dream. The round-faced middle-aged Dongcheng has a fixed expression, both funny and helpless. His wife felt that she was living in a dream, why didn't he feel that way? Consider that person's profile. The military god of the military, the ultimate in the world, horizontal pushing the saints. Any one of these titles and achievements is a great halo, which can make people's heart beat wildly. Not to mention it all comes together in the same person. Such a character has never been seen in martial arts for more than 300 years. I'm afraid it will be difficult to come up with a comparable one. The point is, he is only in his early 20s. Prosperity, but that's it. And it is such a person who terrifies the whole world, even among the hundreds of millions of people in the world, all living beings like their daughter, want to become a partner, and take the initiative to visit. Since learning of this news, Dong Chengding has to beat his mind dozens of times every day. To make sure that you are still alive in the real world, don't wait for a sneeze, and wake up in bed. My Dongcheng is set before the age of 70, and I have always felt that the 2 sons I gave birth to are the greatest pride in my life. Never thought. Dong Chengding said with emotion, my greatest achievement in my life is giving birth to my 3rd daughter. The beautiful woman beside her folded her hands together and muttered, blessed by the ancestors of the owner, the luck of 10 lifetimes has brought us Qingxue. The couple sighed for a while, and Dong Chengding suddenly asked, is that one coming soon? Have you contacted Qingxue? The beautiful woman nodded, I called me before I got on the plane. If you count the time, it's only about an hour or 2. So fast? Dong Chengdang looked startled, and hurriedly went out. Then I have to go to the Dalan Mountain courtyard to see if everything is arranged. Halfway through his words, he shrank back, and said with a serious face, please tell the people below, don't really treat that uncle as my boss. Be my ancestor. I know. The beautiful woman suddenly remembered, frowned and said, the Qin family and the Wang family seem to have gotten the wind and rushed to Dalan Mountain. Are you saying this is appropriate? Do you want them back? Dongcheng shook his head, both of them have greeted me before. They are both family friends, so there is no need. Besides, whoever comes over, they should all come to greet them with affection and reason, just let them go. It is good. The beautiful woman nodded and said suddenly and quickly, wait for me to change clothes, and I'll go with you. Come here instead of yourself, I don't have time to wait for you. Dongcheng didn't turn his head back, his grandmaster's blood was bubbling, and he went out the door in a hurry. Arrive. The plane stopped, and Lu Sheng took Dong Qingshue's hand and got off the plane. Standing in front of him has long been full of sturdy military officers in military uniforms. These people all looked at Lu Sheng with an almost fanatical reverence. They know very well who they are welcoming and who is standing in front of them. Is God. It is the god of their military, the military god of the military. Sir, the convoy has been arranged, please come here. The general standing in front of Lu Sheng was so excited that his words were a little awkward. Lu Sheng's mental power radiated out, and he could see the battle outside the airport clearly. Good guy, there are nearly 100 military vehicles, cars, and even a fleet of armored vehicles and tanks. An honor guard of thousands of heavily armed soldiers. Is this a plan to clear the way all the way? Lu Sheng couldn't help frowning. When he first practiced martial arts, he was especially envious of those high-ranking martial arts experts and big men. No matter where you go, you will be called forward and embraced, all the stars hold the moon, and 10,000 people will follow. It felt so majestic and arrogant. But as the strength of martial arts increases, the status is getting higher and higher, but it is more and more resistant to the scenery of shiny and angry horses. Sometimes the more you stand in the center of the crowd, the more you lose the fun of being an ordinary person. How about we go by ourselves? Lu Sheng asked Dong Qingxue. With a natural expression, Dong Qingxue grabbed the luggage that the accompanying officer was helping to carry, and said, "You know, I've never been a fan of liveliness." Lu Sheng smiled. 20 minutes later, somewhere dozens of kilometers away from the military airport. Lu Sheng put the last duffel bag into the trunk of the car, then got into the car, closed the door, and greeted, "Master, drive. Go." Lu Sheng turned to look at Dong Qingxue beside him. "Where are you from?" "Dalan Mountain Qinghu Courtyard." Dong Qingxue reminded. "Yes, Dalan Mountain Qinghu Courtyard." Lu Sheng repeated it. "Okay, sit down." The taxi driver stepped on the accelerator and drove the car out. Lu Sheng whispered to Dong Qingxue, "You people from Lingang City have a somewhat similar accent to those from Kyoto. It was originally not far from the capital, and I was still relying on Ninghai." Dong Qingxue also whispered back. The way the two of them were talking shoulder to shoulder and talking head to head was no different from an ordinary couple who went home to visit relatives. The taxi driver looked at the two of them through the rearview mirror and boasted, "You two should be celebrity couples in the entertainment industry. This looks, this temperament, I have driven a taxi for so many years, you can definitely rank first in terms of appearance. How about an old saying? The golden boy and girl. A perfect match." The taxi driver gives a thumbs up with one hand. Lu Sheng couldn't help laughing, and said to Dong Qingxue, "I have to give this master an extra 100 yuan for the car." Dong Qingxue secretly pinched the palm of his hand, but she couldn't help but arch her eyebrows slightly. Since Lu Sheng entered the military and his status has risen, he has rarely taken a taxi again. Now re-experience this experience, I feel fresh, and I don't think the taxi driver talks too much, and even takes the initiative to chat with each other. During the process, Lu Sheng only felt a sense of heavenly interest lingering in his heart, his thinking was lively, and he seemed to have some inexplicable insights into natural breathing. Dong Qingxue didn't speak, just listened to Lu Sheng and the taxi driver talking quietly, smiling from time to time. After half an hour, the taxi arrived at the destination. "Good guy, is there a big man coming here today? Such a big scene." The taxi driver stopped the car from a distance and looked at the luxury cars and crowds in front of him. He couldn't help but turn his head and ask Lu Sheng, "Young man, are you sure you can get in? Even the cordon is pulled up, it seems to be a private place." Lu Sheng paid for the car, got out of the car with Dong Qingxue, and said with a smile, "Let's sneak in later. Then don't get caught. Good luck." The taxi driver said half-jokingly. He also just said that Lu Sheng and Dong Qingxue's image and temperament did not look like ordinary people. If they could go straight here, they would naturally be able to enter. Bao Buki is the daughter of the son of an aristocratic family. But he didn't think deeply, the 100 yuan overcharged this trip was enough for him to be happy for a long time. Lu Sheng and Dong Qingxue got out of the car and looked into the distance. Qinghubia Yuan is located at the foot of Dalan Mountain and is the private origin of Dong Qing's family. At this moment, a lot of cars and people gathered at the gate of the courtyard, and there were also a lot of sharp-eyed martial artist bodyguards walking around. Thinking with the heel, I also know that I am preparing to meet myself. Lu Sheng was thinking about whether he should really take Dong Qingxue to sneak in. Suddenly, he noticed a man who had just gotten out of a luxury car. The man looked to be in his early 30s, wearing a decent dark blue suit but no tie. Handsome, with a bit of a playboy temperament. Dong Qingxue obviously saw this person, and said from the side, "It's Qin Shaojun." Lu Sheng's eyes flickered, he suddenly smiled, and said, "I'll say hello to him." Qin Shaojun was one of Lu Sheng's few friends. Speaking of which, Qin Shaojun's contribution to the fact that he and Dong Qingxue can be together. Lu Sheng took out his mobile phone and made a quick call. Seeing that Qin Shaojun, who was about to walk into the other courtyard, stopped and took out his mobile phone from his pocket. The whole person freezes for a few seconds, with a stunned expression on his face, then excitement, ecstasy. Look around. Not long after, Qin Shaojun found Lu Sheng and Dong Qingxue, and ran towards them quickly. He rushed to Lu Sheng and the two of them in one breath, excited to say hello to them, suddenly remembered something, and saluted Lu Sheng with a serious face. "Colonel Qin Shaojun of the Eastern Military Region, I have seen General Lu Sheng Lu." Obviously, Qin Shaojun's understanding of Lu Sheng is still at the stage of the Eastern Military Region's general star comparison. Lu Sheng's eyes flickered, and he said lightly, "Stand in a military posture for 10 hours. Qin Shaojun's face darkened, he gritted his teeth and said, "Lu Sheng, you're going too far. Don't forget who helped you chase down Dong Qingxue." "You're kidding me, you're serious." Lu Sheng took the initiative to step forward, stretched out his arms to Qin Shaojun, and said with a smile, "Long time no see, Instructor Qin." Qin Shaojun was stunned, there seemed to be a strange light flashing in his eyes, and then he solemnly opened his arms and hugged him. "Long time no see, Lu Sheng." When the two separated, the previous estrangement and strangeness disappeared. Qin Shaojun is still the same Qin Shaojun, and Lu Sheng is still the same Lu Sheng. "You come back this time." "Who? You don't even know?" Qin Shaojun had a look of surprise on his face, looked left and right, leaned closer and said solemnly, "The fourth martial sage of my dragon kingdom, the military god of the military. He is the one who implemented the new body refining technique in the military some time ago. You should know about body refinement, right?" Qin Shaojun thought about it for a while and described it in one word, heaven and earth. Lu Sheng was silent, looked at Dong Qingxue, and found that Dong Qingxue was looking at him with a surprised look on his face. Yes. Not only Qin Shaojun didn't know, even Dong Qingxue didn't know. Lu Sheng. How sloppy is it now? With the implementation of the new body refining technique, it is known that there are many people in the army of Manhwa who are the ultimate in the world and the god of the army. But the person who knows the true identity of this so-called military god. But not much. Even Dong Qingxue only regards his status as a prominent person now because his talent and strength are valued by the military. It is not clear that he is the legendary fourth sage of the Dragon Kingdom and the god of the military. Lu Sheng also thought about waiting for a showdown with Dong Qingxue after returning home this time. I was reluctant to engage in too much pomp at the airport before because of this consideration. Now I hear that even Qin Shaojun has heard the news, combined with the scene at the door of the owner. Lu Sheng knew that it was Tai 503 and couldn't hide it. It was estimated that the Dong family already knew his identity, and he didn't know whether Dong Qingxue would be angry when he found out that he was the last to know. By the way, what happened to the last military exercise? Why didn't any news come out? It's also classified as the highest level secret. Tell me about it. Qin Shaojun suddenly remembered this and asked Lu Sheng. Before Lu Sheng could speak, Dong Qingxue said lightly, "You know it's a top secret, and you still ask?" "He didn't even tell me." Lu Sheng whispered, "You didn't ask." Dong Qingxue turned back and glared at him, with an expression like "I'll talk to you, but you're taking my stand, right?" Lu Sheng felt a little guilty and dared not look into Dong Qingshue's eyes. He pretended to be nonchalant and said, let's go in and talk about it. Qin Shaojun naturally helped the two with their luggage and chatted with the two as they walked. I thought you guys came back specially because you knew there was a big man coming. I didn't expect to know more than I. Qin Shaojun shook his head and sighed. Dong Qingxue asked, what is such a big man doing at our boss? It is said that he came to choose a concubine. You know, the bigger the person is, the more powerful and valuable the genes are, and the stronger the talent in martial arts will be. Not only the owner, but also have to go to our Qin's house and the Wang's house next door. It is even possible that the aristocratic families in the dozens of cities in Kyoto province have to choose them one by one. Puff. Lu Sheng almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Where did you hear this news? Lu Sheng looked at Qin Shaojun in disbelief.